case competitions are fun. Case competitions are fun because it involves a discovery process. When we look at a case, we try to discover the key issues in the case, and then it also involves a delivery process. It requires us to deliver our recommendation, analysis, and so on to a panel of judges and also the audiences. So discover and deliver are the key essences of fun actually. But then, today we are going to talk about something that are even more fun, which are, I guess, unarguably toys. Toys are more fun than case competitions, and they are, I guess, less stressful. So, let us kickstart our case today about Toy R Us. Before that, ladies and gentlemen, we are really grateful to be here. We are Team Hong Kong U. And as I've promised in the welcoming dinner, that I'll introduce my team to the audiences, so please allow me to do so. On the far left, here's Kelvin, and then Joseph, and then Yan, and myself, Ivan. Today we are going to present to you the Discover and Deliver strategy for Toy R Us e-commerce in Asia. So why are we talking about Discover and Deliver? Discover means that Toy R Us have to discover a unified value proposition for its e-commerce presence in Asia, which involves considering both online and offline presence in a more unified way, and also trying to bridge the two things into a more seamless experience. And the second component is delivery. Delivering localized ordering across Asia, which involve addressing the 5 key markets in Asia, which is Hong Kong, China, Taiwan, Singapore, and Malaysia. And then we also want to put emphasis on the 2 most challenging markets, which are China and Hong Kong. Let's look at the case company. The case company is Toy R Us, and the Toy R Us proposition originally is extremely clear. It's the toy supermarket, and it features a very interactive, fun and shopping experience in store, which allows both kids and parents to explore different kinds of toys and have a very convenient checkout and discovery of toys. And their target is actually 3 to 10-year-old children. When they enter Asia in the online arena, they chose the omni-channel strategy. So what do we mean by omni-channel strategy? The objective originally for the omni-channel strategy is to integrate both online and offline shopping experience. And the rationale of Toy R Us choosing omni-channel strategy is very clear. It's because they can leverage on their existing offline physical stores, and also toys have to be experienced. You cannot actually play a Barbie online. You only go into the store to play with the exact toy in order to find out how fun it actually is. So the 2 rationale is very clear, and we decided to go with the company's choice in choosing the omni-channel strategy. However, there are some obstacles in implementing the omni-channel strategy in Asia for Toy R Us. And there are 3, actually. The first one is the isolation of e-commerce strategy when compared to the original vision of integrating both online and offline presences. Now, what Toy R Us is doing is actually focusing on e-commerce. How do they partner? Who do they partner with? How do they build up a channel online to complete the transaction? Very operational. And this does not match with the original vision of matching both online and offline presence. They also overlook the importance of physical stores in the whole so-called e-commerce strategy. And the second issue, or the second obstacle, is that they have a lack of unified proposition for the whole e-commerce in Asia. They have different partners, different channels, and also different focus across Asia. For example, in Hong Kong, the focus is convenience. In Taiwan, the focus is home delivery. And in China, they don't actually have a focus and just put their toys on some external partner sites. So there is a lack of unified value proposition, and it kind of confuses its own operations and execution of strategy, and also confuses customers. And the last one kind of explains the second complication, is that the third obstacle is that there is vast differences among Asian markets. Among the Asian markets, they are well developed, they are less developed, they are very dense populated, they are very diverse populated. So there are a variety of markets in Asia. So these are the three obstacles to the implementation of omni-channel strategy for Toys R Us in Asia. So when we look at the key issues today, we can very intuitively come up with the case objective that we have to address in the following part of the presentation. When to tackle the first two issues, the isolation of e-commerce strategy and the lack of unified value proposition, we want Toys R Us to actually discover what it actually means online and offline. So they have to provide a universal Toys R Us experience in both online and offline arena. This is the first objective. And the second one is to adapt to all Asian markets in a localized way so that they can provide unique services to different markets, but under the unified value proposition. So in the following, I'll pass the time to my colleague, Yan, to first talk about the first part, how can we discover the value proposition and what the value proposition should be. And then after setting such value proposition, then our team will pass the time to Joseph to talk about how we can deliver the localized offering to different markets. Now I'll pass the time to Yan.
Thank you, Ivan. So we talk about fun, and honestly, looking at this is not fun at all. If I were a three-year-old, and I look at this, I'm like black and white. This is, two separate circles. What should I do? And actually, this is what Toys R Us is facing. Of course, there is still some excitement associated with the stores. However, the online stores and the physical stores, they're quite separated. I want to find some way to make it fun and seamless. So what's the first thing we need to do? Of course, we can introduce more ways so that people can enter through online and physical stores. So online stores, I'm not sure if anyone would admit it. I mean, I probably wouldn't, but I used to play with Barbie when I was young. And there's Barbie.com, and you get to go online and look at all the different outfits and so on, and you can play. But that's it. There's no follow-up actions. You can't get a real Barbie doll anywhere. And so the first thing we want to do is actually to introduce more channels for people to get access to the online stores. And there are a lot of ways for us to do so. We can add a Find Us on ToysRUs.com button on the Barbie page. And this is not only limited to Barbie. There are things like Transformers for the guys, or maybe even a certain movie like Despicable Me, and we can add a QR code for them so that they can go to the online catalog and tell their parents, oh, I like this toy, can we please go buy it? And of course, for physical stores, right now what we have is a toy supermarket, and they are fun. But a trend is that people are no longer only playing with physical toys, but there are also more interactive elements to it through technology. And we can do that in the stores as well. We can upgrade them using facilities like iPads and so on. And by doing that, we can allow them to visualize and have a better experience that includes their imagination as well as their five senses when they visit the physical stores, so that they can have a more fun experience and discover even more. But even so, we can only address them separately. So how can we bridge them together? So what we need is actually to have these arrows in green. Of course, in physical stores, you can tell them, oh, you can go online and we can see a more extensive catalog and you can go and choose. There are maybe different versions, other accessories that you can look for. And maybe you don't necessarily have the time to look at all those things in detail in stores, but you can definitely go home and try and go and ask your parents, or for people who are even older, by themselves, to look at even more versions. And when they're online, we can give really simple directions and tell them, oh, do you want a more unique way to play with the toys? Do you want better ways to interact with them? And encourage them to go to the online store, physical stores as well. So what's the purpose of doing all this? Fun. Red, maybe a bit funner, but the thing we want to emphasize is actually the places that we underline. We want people to discover, especially for kids. Kids, you can't just give them an online advertisement or just say, go to this web page and look at all the pretty pictures that we have. They need all five senses. They need to touch them, they need chances to play with them, or maybe even smell them if it's a Barbie-scented doll or something. And of course, definitely, this also brings an added-on benefit to parents as well. Why? When I was younger, I always begged my mom to take me to Toys R Us, but she always says no, because I always spent too much time in there. I spent 5 hours or even 5,000 hours in her standards, going through all the hours and saying, oh, look at that doll, look at that ball, oh, look at that car, oh, I want a Rubik's Cube, and so on. But by having them first discover the possibilities online, parents can have a little more expectation expectation towards what the kids want. And the kids can also have a little more expectation towards what they can discover in the stores. And of course, for other adults as well. I have aunts and uncles and people who honestly don't have kids and they have no idea what to get me for Christmas. And always they're like, can we not go to Toys R Us? There's just too many people in there. The crowds are crazy. I don't want to queue up. And by having things like online stores, it can also provide them with better access points so that they can discover the things that are fun for children, and children can then discover fun. So of course, we talked a lot about fun, but this isn't enough because even if there are ways to get fun, we need to deliver them. So now I'll pass the time on to Joseph to talk about how we can actually deliver these offerings.
Thank you, Yan. So Yan talked about our whole value proposition, which is trying to link both the online store and the physical store together and deliver a very fun experience to kids and also maybe probably their parents. But we need to deliver that experience into Asia. And as we all know, Asia is a very diverse region of the globe. We have different cultures and we have different technology advancement depending on our development needs. So we need to tailor for each market such that we can deliver that fun experience to each of the markets. Actually, we identified 5 key markets in Asia: Singapore, Malaysia, Taiwan, China, and Hong Kong. And we want to point out the first 3 first because in Singapore, Malaysia, and Taiwan, they actually have a very good infrastructure in terms of e-commerce. They have their own exclusive online store. And in Taiwan in particular, as Ivan mentioned previously, they have a very popular service, which is the home delivery. Actually, many people in Taiwan, they order their orders online, and hopefully they would get delivered from the Taiwan major flagship store and deliver into the home. So a very convenient experience. But yeah, it's just a convenient, but they don't deliver fun. So we want to put the fun experience, as Ian mentioned, into these markets. And it is relatively easy because we have all the infrastructure there. We just need to upgrade different types of the services. For example, we update the online store, we put the tags or QR codes into the physical store such that they have the experience. But the more problematic region in Asia is the China and Hong Kong. Actually, we don't have a very, maybe in Hong Kong first, we don't really rely on online shopping. We actually very convenient to go into physical store. So that will not work. We need some modifications. For China, it's very popular in online shopping, but then they have a major challenge, which I will talk about later. All I'm going to say is that China and Hong Kong, it's not that they are not going to have fun. They just need the right model in order to enjoy the fun. So for China, the major challenge is they have a Tmall online shopping store there. And Tmall is just like a superstore in Hong Kong, where they have different shops around this shopping mall. And you can imagine when you set up the Toys R Us store nearby another competitors, actually they will look for other competitors. For example, they look for the cheaper offering, they look for something that actually more convenient to them, or maybe the cheaper price actually is the key differentiator. And what we're going to do is we need to differentiate that we don't rely on Tmall anymore. We try to build exclusive store, actually what is China has been doing in China. And we try to differentiate ourselves through 3 strategies. For example, accessories, loyalty programs, and Toys R Us tag. For accessory, as mentioned by Yan, like when you're paying a Barbie, we want to have different clothes or different color schemes or hairdressing. So we can build all these accessories in the online store. And we try to build a whole holistic product offerings to attract the clients to use our exclusive store instead of using the Tmall, which they have similar products. For example, they have the basic Barbie, but they don't have the accessories. So we can use this kind of accessory to attract them to use our exclusive online store in China. Secondly, we have the loyalty program. Actually, in the Tmall, they have specialized in one particular product. For example, Barbie for one seller, and then Legos for another, and maybe Transformers for another one. And in Toys R Us, we actually offer all types of products, all types of toys together. So we can have a loyalty program that they can earn the bonus. For example, whenever they buy one product, they can earn a bonus, and then you spend that bonus on another product. For example, buy a Barbie, and then buy another one for a Transformer. So we can build the loyalty with this program. Last but not least is the Toys R Us tag. As mentioned by Yan, we have the QR code, which when we bring the toy into the Toys R Us physical store, we have that online experience that they can bring the toy and they can dress up the Barbie with different clothes. So this kind of technology we build in our toys and try to differentiate ourselves from other genuine toy sellers in the Tmall. So for the Hong Kong, we face another issues. The major challenge in Hong Kong is actually we are very convenient going to everywhere within Hong Kong. It just takes less than 1 hour to go to any tourist store in Hong Kong. And online shopping is not that popular. So how can we make it more fun? So we have two strategies. First, we need to inject excitement through a program called Treasure Hunt. Secondly, we will have to boost the convenience even more when they are using the physical store, which I will elaborate later. So for the treasure hunt, actually this is what we are going to do. We have a partnership with Li&Fo. Li&Fo has a lot of outlets, for example, Showcase and other outlets. And we can use that outlets as part of the outlets for tourist stores, toys. So actually we try to spread all the toys with different parts across Hong Kong. For example, they have a piece of clothes for Barbie in the flagship store, and then they have a special region, for example, Western style in central Circle Case, and they have a more urban rural clothing in another store. So they can travel around different places in Hong Kong and collect that pieces and make it a holistic toy experience. And by doing so, we are not just encouraging fun for the children, but we try to encourage the parents, which all together play the treasure hunt together and collect different pieces. Because as we know, in 7-Eleven, they have a lot of toys that we want to collect, and it creates a lot of excitement. And we try to put that experience in the tourists and bring it to try to encourage fun, both for children and parents. Secondly, is we need to boost the convenience in the physical store in Hong Kong. So how can we do that? Actually, we have different express store in Hong Kong already. For example, at Olympic Station, we have an express store where we can pick up some tourist toys, but they are not going to overall the SKUs. What we are going to do is we emphasize on our online experience, and they can place order through the online system. And then when they can also select where they pick up the toys. For example, they select the Olympic Station where most HSBC employees is actually working. And we know that banks are very busy, so they can use the online system to buy the toys for their children and pick it up when they leave the office. It's a very convenient and try to bring that experience into our Hong Kong citizens. And hopefully these kind of strategies will bring the omni-channel strategy more adapt into the Hong Kong and China and also other parts in Asia. Now I will pass the time to Calvin to talk about the exact implementation plan and also some timeline and risk.
So thank you, Joseph. So now I'll focus on some implementation issues. So on top of all my teammates have suggested, actually there are two implementations-wise issues. So one of them is the inventory control system. So actually from the case, we believe that the company has not adopted any similar type of inventory control mechanism from the case. So actually we recommend one of them would be the RFID technology, which have the real-time tagging of the inventory. So the sales representative, they can immediately know whether the stock is in which area, which warehouse and which shop. So the advantage of this technology is that they can achieve the buy anywhere and fill anywhere concept. Buy anywhere means you can buy it online or in the shop. But the most important is fill anywhere. You have to get the product. So where can you receive your product, receive your goods is more important. So with this system, the sales representative or the online system can immediately tell the users or the consumers where your product is. So we believe that this will improve on. Of course, there are some costs. For example, you have to have some system costs. But we believe that with reduce in the lost sales and also the reduce in the inventory costs along the supply chain will outweigh that increment in the system costs. And besides, we can see there are the second issue in the implementation, which is to find a local vendor in terms of the IT system, because we are talking about an online platform for our shops. So we believe there is the need to have a vendor for the system, IT system. So should the vendor be a local vendor? For example, for the option 1, a local vendor, the advantage is that they have better knowledge about the local system, but it will be higher cost because we have to find a local vendor in every region, every country. But the second option will be more viable in our opinion because we believe that actually you can see if we partner with some regional vendor, regional means Asia vendor. So therefore, of course, the cost will be slightly lower, and we have to sacrifice some slightly less localization. But we believe that this Because leverage on Li and Feng's the expertise in the regional supply chain management, this can still be a viable option, the option 2. And besides that, we'll have a timeline to show how we implement different solutions. For example, we can see that the online platform has to be built first, because in Hong Kong, the online platform is not yet built effectively. So it's urgent. So we have to build it first. So you can see the green line on the top. The blue line is the offline implementation or the offline recommendation part. So first we finish off with the online things. If it goes smoothly, then we can go on with the offline shops to improve our offline setting, to align or to align with the online offerings. And besides, you can see the second one is to upgrade and improve. So upgrade means we upgrade the Malaysia, Singapore and Taiwan because they are already doing good. So we just simply upgrade them. But besides on the China and Hong Kong side, they have to do more to improve. But you see, I use a dotted line here because we are not sure whether it can immediately implement it, so it takes some time. And besides, you can see the financial analysis. So actually, it's majorly on the cost. So doing all the recommendations by my fellow teammates will increase the cost. You can see that for the physical store, if we improve on the equipment or some tablets for better effects or better shoppers experience. So of course, there are some equipment costs, but we believe that is not that major. That's why I put it minor. And besides, you can see that there is the online shop. So you have to, actually, the online-wise, there are different tactics, as mentioned by my colleagues. But we believe this will increase the negotiation cost because we have to talk to different parties. And we have to also share some profit with them. So this is cost, and maybe a bit more important than the first one. And besides, you can see in China and other areas, there are different costs to put on, as listed here. But actually, we can also move on some risk and mitigation stuff. So there are majorly two kinds of risks. So the first one you can see, because we want to have a more mutual benefits in terms of the negotiations and stuff. So we have to talk to different parties, as just mentioned. But the parties may not believe us, or they may not want to cooperate with us. Or other companies have already cooperated with them, so they are not going to cooperate with us. So this is one of the risks. And we have to continuously to convince them. And the second one is the fast pace of cultural and trend changes, of course, in China, Asia, and different regions across the regions. So we really have to do the research to watch out for the trend changes. Otherwise, all our recommendations is useless. So I will pass the time to Ivan to do a wrap-up of the whole presentations.
So in the 20-something minute just now, our team has showed you the discover and deliver strategy for the e-commerce practices for Toys R Us in Asia. First part, discover. We want Toys R Us to discover its unique value proposition, which is unified across the whole market, so that it can have a more clear strategic vision for itself and also a more clear image for its customers all across Asia. So how do we do that? We do that by upgrading our online stores, inducing more channels from outside parties by the go to the online store button outside, for example, in Barbie.com. And also we want to upgrade the physical stores, not revamp, but upgrade with the RFID tags, with all the technology improvements, and so on. And the second part, after we have this unified value proposition, what should we build on that? We have to deliver that to every customer in Asia, and markets in Asia are vastly different. That's why we need localization, delivering localized offerings to Asia. How do we do that? We focus on the two most challenging markets, China and Hong Kong, and find out how to differentiate in the Chinese market and how to inject more convenience and excitement to the purchasing process in Hong Kong. So, by the discover and deliver strategy, we believe that Toys R Us can bring fun wherever we are in Asia. Thank you very much.
Happy to start, yeah. Well done, very well played, a lot of passion, high energy, high octane. Just be careful that you don't cross the line of lecturing. You know, it's a fine line. But I think you are on the right side of the line just. What I would say is I think you came up with some great ideas. I think your loyalty programs, your treasure hunts. The treasure hunt, actually I was sitting here thinking, probably, in fact it's definitely great fun for the kids. I'm not as convinced about the parents, because I think you said the parents would have great fun or something like that, and I was thinking, I'd rather play golf actually. But maybe that's the wrong thing to say. But you know, very good ideas. And I think the fill anywhere is the right way to go as well, because that's the ultimate objective. At the end of this, that's the right thing to do. You focused very much on logistics, which is good, and you focused on distribution. And what I liked the way was that you tied in the Li and Fung resources. This enormous company who's been doing this for many years in a best-of-breed way. They're trying to make sure that you're utilising every piece of the value chain and not creating something that already exists that you would have to pay extra for or find out whether you're right or wrong. So that was very good. The other thing I'd say is that I think you're on the right track about the differentiation. So we talked in a session earlier about, you know, Asia is a very differentiated place. It's a huge market, and some of the markets, frontier markets, are growing massively. We don't even know about them yet. They're not being mentioned. You're mentioning China, India, Hong Kong, etc., etc. And my suspicion, although I know virtually nothing about your special subject, is that buying habits are completely different and the cultures are completely different. So I think that's the right place to focus on. And once you crack the key to that, then whether it be physical or online is frankly less relevant.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I love the presentation talking about a lot of the market people like wordings, including the unified value propositions, differentiations, core values across store and online, offline, etc. Which I believe that which is very important and very crucial. Yeah, you will get this critical point. Okay. On the other hand, I find that you also quite emphasize a lot on the cooperation between the online and offline, and also the store, the physical store role in this area. I fully agree that which is ultimately in the Asia market, which is the physical store can play a lot more than in the office in the Western, which talk about you have convenience store, you have all other parties can do and pick up the items over there, which is exactly the Hong Kong or some Asian markets case, which is need the convenience, which is you can pick up any store close to your working area instead of just waiting for the parcel at home, which is a lot more inconvenient actually. But one point I would like to see, okay, what do you think about that? When you talk about unified value propositions, do you think that means the whole program on the online strategy or the online presence or the presentation, should it be unified website and unified program across this market together? Is it what you think?
Thank you for your question. To clarify, I think what we're trying to do actually here is to provide more access points. Because for online stores, definitely there are a lot of strengths, but there is one missing link we have right now is that kids, they can't really directly go onto toysrus.com and look at the catalog and say what they want. Firstly, it's because maybe they don't necessarily go online to www.toysrus.com, but more usually it's because they don't find fun in that process. The fun in the process is about discovering other things online, such as going to things like as you said, Barbie.com and so on. And it's through those things that they discover the products. And we hope to establish a link between finding the product, discovering the product, and finding a way to get a physical version. So that's why we want to unify the channel to provide better access through online platforms. And of course, another point is because definitely there are places where it's hard to get to physical stores. And by having online stores, they can actually go there and order directly instead of having to hunt down a Toys R Us or another physical seller. And by that, we can provide better channels for kids and also parents to access the points the toys that they want, and therefore they can buy and discover the fun that Toys R Us are bringing to kids everywhere.
Okay, first thing is, if you all want a job, you got one, right? Come and see me after this. I have to say you hit all the sweet spots that I was looking for as someone that's involved in the Toys R Us business. So congratulations, your introduction was brilliant, and I thought you followed through on all the key points. I love the fun element. In Toys R Us, we actually use the word wow instead of fun. So if you superimpose wow on top of fun, I think you're absolutely hitting the sweet spots everywhere. A couple of comments for me. I think I would have talked a little bit more about competitors and talked a little bit more about market analysis of the industry. I know it's early, very quickly, you didn't touch upon that. So it's quite a unique industry. So if I was going to pick up on really, these are really minor points, but it's something that I would spend more time trying to get analysis of the market and analysis of competitors, particularly in Asia, before we embark on the solutions. But I love the fact that you thought global or thought regional and had local solutions. When you started with Unify Everything, I was horrified, but you followed through very well on that and you finished up very well. I think the other thing for me is that the nature of each market online is very, very different in terms of the level of shopping, the level of customer requirements. And I think you rightly pointed out China's a challenge. I'm not sure Hong Kong's as big a challenge. You know, for me, China and Malaysia is probably the biggest challenge online, you know, rather than Hong Kong. But all in all, we'll come to some questions later, but all in all, I think it was just excellent. So many, many, many congratulations. To do that in that period of time is very good. I guess the first question I have is one around this whole question of loyalty and loyalty online, and in particular, you know, creating fun online is one thing, content is another. How do you envision getting a child, once they find something, to then get the parent to then follow through with shopping online, or else get them to the store? Can you follow through a little bit more on that, please?
Yeah. First of all, thank you for your question and thank you for the comments. How a kid discovers toys, usually or originally, they discover toys in Toys R Us, right? But now, given there is internet, and they discover toys in various web entry points. For example, they search for toys. For example, if they like Barbie very much, they directly go to Barbie's website. And we know that from Yen's contribution in the discussion, we know that Barbie.com actually offers a lot of interactive features. And what we propose is to negotiate with the toy brands to put an entry point of Toys R Us e-commerce sites onto their website or on the interactive features of their sites. Because for kids, when they discover the toys, they discover it on the branded toys website, but not on Toys R Us sites, right? So we wanted that to be an entry point to the Toys R Us site, so that they know where they can buy it, or they can just pass their iPad or they can pass their tablet to their parents and say, "Hi, Dad, I actually want this, please." So this is one thing. And then how we bring them to the stores is through the purchase of accessories and all the in-store features upgrade that we allow them to bring, for example, the Barbie store into the store and see how that Barbie store will play out in different kind of outfits, so that they have more incentives to actually visit the store even after they buy one made product of that brand. So they want to shop more accessories. Even if they can buy online, they cannot envision clearly what it will look like on the Barbie. So they have when they have an upgraded store experience, they would have more incentive to go to the store as well.
The other thing that I wouldn't mind touching upon is actually the physicality of getting the product to the home. You guys didn't really explore the logistics as much as I would have thought of, and again, the uniqueness of each of the markets. So, you know, trying to get deliveries into the home in Hong Kong is quite trying at the best of times. You know, for those of you who live in Hong Kong, you need to put two guys in a delivery truck. One guy's got to sit outside while the other guy runs upstairs. It's a very expensive exercise. The whole unique nature of
of involving Circle K, which I think you touched upon, but the issue about pick-up in store, ordering online, I don't think you explored it as much as I would have liked you, so we'd like to comment on that.
So, as mentioned by our presentation, actually in Asia is very localized and differentiated, so we need to tackle different markets for different methods. For example, in Taiwan, they have already a home delivery program, which is very popular, and the growth rate is actually 300%. So we can leverage on that, and for Taiwan, we just simply use the program we have installed and use that program to continue to deliver our fun experience to our clients. For Hong Kong, we try to use the express store only because this is what we have to control. And we believe in Hong Kong, many places are actually very convenient. You can take less than 1 hour drive to go to everywhere. So we don't need too much outlets. So for the express store, as mentioned in our presentation, when you order online, then we shift the SKUs to tailor for your orders, and you can pick which store you want to pick up that products. So this will be provide extra layer of convenience. And as mentioned in our treasure hunts, so for the Circle case, obviously we cannot put all the SKUs there because we don't have the control, and they need to sell our products. So what we're going to put is just simply some maybe seasonal accessories. So they need to go there to hunt for the products, and we try to minimize the shelf placements that we need to borrow from this Circle K, and try to minimize that kind of expense, and simply focus on the express store to truly deliver what you are going to order online. And for China, actually delivery and online shopping is very popular. So basically, everywhere that Tmall is going to reach, we can also match that experience with our own exclusive store, and we just need to find the right third parties to do the deliveries. So online store in China is actually more similar, and we don't shift the whole proposition there, and we just rely on our current infrastructure in China and deliver the products there. We try to, because we don't have time to explore all the regions in Asia, and I think all of that idea is that we try to put the online physical connection in that region and try to modify the delivery depending on the local needs, and hopefully that will enable us to bring that new value proposition into different markets in